So the president has this editorial in the Wall Street Journal arguing all the economic success that we are seeing right now is due to his tariff policies. The legality of that, of some of those tariffs, are being debated right now before the Supreme Court. How factual do you assess his argument to be?
Well, I think we need to take a step back. The economy is quite strong right now on top-line growth. So if you look at GDP, gross domestic product, which is the overall output of the U.S. economy, we're trending about 5% right now, which is a very high growth rate in the United States, and much higher than the baseline we've had for the last decade. So if you look at that number alone, and that's a good number to look at, things are going well. The inflation rate has come down to the high 2%. It's still higher than we'd like it. And the unemployment rate is ticking up, but it's still in a reasonable place around 4.5%. So overall, the economy is quite strong right now. That said, we've got an interesting economy right now. We've got this massive wealth effect at the top end, and we've got hardworking Americans who are having a very difficult time paying their bills, and they're suffering in this economy. And I think the White House has acknowledged that they're suffering. I think part of the reason the president wrote the op-ed was to try and get out in front of people who are having a hard time paying their bills and meeting their expenses. The White House is going on the offensive. The president is going to spend time out on the road talking about affordability. Affordability is going to be the issue.
He says it's a hope.
Well, I think affordability will be the issue between now and the midterm elections.
Right. And we know the chief of staff has said she wants the president out there talking about the economy. But you just mentioned what consumers are feeling. The White House says people will just feel better after tax time. You wrote that original tax law that was then just renewed and extended by Congress. But you are seeing companies like Amazon announces cutting 16,000 corporate jobs, MasterCard cutting 4% of its 35,000 person workforce, UPS 30,000 jobs gone, Dow 4,500, Home Depot 800. If everything's trending in a positive direction, what is going on there?
So we did see over 60,000 additional layoffs come out of companies last week during the earnings season. It's typically when companies talk about managing expenses. Companies today have two basic things going on. Number one, companies hoarded labor during and after COVID. When we were working from home and people were remote, productivity went down and companies were worried about getting the workloads done. So most companies end up hiring additional people or not letting anyone go. So workforces ballooned. And I think we're now in the part of the cycle where corporate America is very comfortable about replacing people. They're very comfortable about hiring people. So they're downsizing their headcount from hoarding to sort of a more naturalized level. And I think a lot of those numbers that we saw this week being announced were companies right-sizing themselves. In addition to that, we have seen input costs for companies go up quite dramatically, whether it be labor cost, commodity cost, or tariffs, as we agree. Someone has to pay the tariffs. So as companies are trying to balance their equation—
The president says there's no cost to it that's going to hurt a company.
But he also says that there's $200 billion plus sitting in an account of money they've collected. So the money's being paid by someone. So the corporations are paying the money. They're trying to figure out how to deal with input costs going up, tariffs going off, cost of labor going up, and not really having the ability to raise prices to the consumer because we've seen how tough it is for a lot of Americans to afford things today. So companies are walking that fine line between absorbing input costs and not being able to raise prices.